This is the first estate, and this lesson centers on Jesus was accused of using martial arts and boxing on his enemies. Strong's Concordance. This book contains the definition of every word in the King James Bible. So, here we go. An infant after the Oriental custom. Wrap in swaddling clothes. Okay? So in the book of Luke, chapter 2, verse 7, she brought forth her firstborn son and wrapped him in swaddling clothes, laid him in a manger because there was no room for them in the inn. So she wrapped him in clothes of an Oriental custom. Okay? Now, we're going to go up to the key. And the word is spargano. Now, spar from the free dictionary. As we go down to number 2, we'll go to 1A. To fight with an opponent in a short bout or practice session, as in boxing or the martial arts. Gano from Wiktionary means to pursue. And Jesus was often pursued. Okay? Wasn't just a man going around teaching, though he had obstacles and roadblocks that he had to deal with. Right? So, brings us here. The word is witness against. So in the book of Matthew, chapter 27, verses 11 through 13, and Jesus stood before the governor, and the governor asked him, saying, Art thou the king of the Jews? And Jesus said unto him, Thou sayest. And when he was accused of the chief priests and elders, he answered nothing. Then said Pilate unto him, Hearest thou not how many things they witness against thee? Okay, so we're going to go back to the key. And the highlighted version over here, we're going to break this word into 3 parts. Kata, Marti, Rio. So, kata, as you see, print off from the Blue of the Bible online and translated to according to. So in the book of Romans, chapter 8, verse 27, and he that searcheth the heart knoweth what is the mind of the Spirit, because he maketh intercession for the saints according to the will of God. Okay? So, once again, at the very top, the key is kata. Now here, in the free dictionary, once again, K-A-T-A, kata, means judo and karate. Okay? An exercise consisting of a sequence of the specific movements of a martial art used in training and designed to show skill in technique. This particular frame, we have the word mar, which means Jesus. But when we look closely, we see the word marti right there. So now we have a kata marti, which means Jesus. He understood martial arts. He knew it. He knew many, many various forms of martial arts. Then we have Rio. Now Rio, from Wiktionary, as you see, person accused of a crime. And we just got through the conversation he had, or one-sided thereof, that he had with Pontius Pilate. Now, Rio also means fish. That fish would be a trout in this case. Now, trouts, there are 23 species. Just like in martial arts, there are just multiple forms of fighting. So, once again, kata, marti, Rio. Okay? So we have Jesus, the martial artist, convicted of a crime. Okay? Putting his hands on people, that's really what it breaks down to. All right? Now, in this particular frame, we have martial, as in martial arts. It states of Mars or war. So, in the book of Exodus, chapter 15, verse 3, the Lord is a man of war. The Lord is his name. This particular frame, we have the word fight. All right. Now, in the book of John, chapter 18, verse 36, Jesus answered, my kingdom is not of this world. If my kingdom were of this world, then would my servants fight, that I should not be delivered to the Jews. But now is my kingdom not from hence. So, Jesus didn't fight at that particular moment. I mean, he didn't have, scuffles and battles in the past. Just means at that particular moment, he decides to, you know, take a more reasonable route, you know, um, and stay away from the fight, right? So we're going to go back to the key of this word fight, and we're going to break this down into syllables. So it's going to be ago, nizo, mai. Okay? Ago, nizo, mai. So here we have the word ago, gone, by, past, nizo, observing, viewing. Once again, same thing, spectator, onlooker. And mai means me. So, meaning, you know, he also was a spectator. Okay? Like I said, in the past, he just didn't fight all the time. He took notes. He was seeing who was who and who he had to contend with in the future. He was observing these things. Okay? So, here we go. Dan. Now, it's very important. In the book of Genesis, chapter 49, verse 16, Dan shall judge his people as one of the tribes of Israel. Okay? So, as you can see, Dan means martial arts. See? So, martial arts began with the children of Israel. Didn't begin with the Asians as everyone's being taught. No, this started with the children of Israel. That's why in martial arts, when you receive that first degree black belt, okay, then it says, when you go up in rank, it's second degree black belt Dan, third degree black belt Dan, fourth degree black belt Dan, so on and so on. See, that's because of the tribe of Dan. Now, the word is hook. Now, definition of a hook, short swinging blow with the elbow bent. That's a hook. Now, keiko, some Wiktionary, word means hook. Now, POI, or poi, if I'm pronouncing that properly, poi tricks are defined, okay, by the manipulation and combination of several variables of the spinning activity. I'm going to read a few of these or read. Now it says the position of the hands, the spinner's bodily orientation, the poise center of gravity. Doesn't that sound like you're watching somebody, for instance, with the positioning of the hands or boxing, or you're seeing dealing with the center of gravity, in bodily orientation, like when someone's there practicing Tai Chi early in the morning, right? So here we go. Straight to the key. Keiko Poi, right there in the scripture. Now, the word is there, malefactor, evildoer. Okay. So in the book of John, chapter 18, verse 30, they answered and said unto him, if he were not a malefactor, we would not have delivered him up unto thee. Apparently, this is what they're saying about Jesus when they delivered him to Pilate. Okay? If he were not a malefactor, we would not have delivered him up to you. Meaning, keiko means he was throwing hooks. He was throwing punches at people. I mean, he knew how to position those hands. He understood the body's center of gravity and all those, you know, poi things, right? Keiko poi. So, I mean, it's this clarification that, you know, Jesus was fighting, physically, hurting guys. He was putting hands on them, as we say in the black community, you know? Wow. So here we go. Lost books of the Bible and the forgotten books of Eden. But then we're going to go to second infancy. Okay. And we're going to go to chapter 1, verses 2 through 4. So here we go. When the child Jesus was 5 years of age, and there had been a shower of rain, which was now over, Jesus was playing with other Hebrew boys by a running stream, and the water running over the bank stood a little length. But the water instantly became clear and useful again, he having smote them only by his word. They readily obeyed him. Then he took from the bank of the stream some soft clay and formed out of it 12 sparrows. And there were other boys playing with him. So there are 23 types of sparrows. Now, free dictionary. The word sparrow is a bird that is only found throughout the Americas. So at 5 years old, Jesus was in the Americas. Now, spar, once again, as you can see, as we're breaking down the word sparrow, okay? So, we already covered it in number 2 before, but we know it's boxing and martial arts, right? You spar, sparrow. And row, or row, see, right here. So we're going to go down to number 2, and we're going to, this is from the Free Dictionary. So remember the word stern, okay? And he was in a boat. Okay, so this is very important. In the book of Luke, chapter 8, verses 22 through 26. Now it came to pass on a certain day that he went into a ship with his disciples, and he said unto them, Let us go over unto the other side of the lake. And they launched forth. But as they sailed, he fell asleep, and there came down a storm of wind on the lake, and they were filled with water, and were in jeopardy. And they came to him, and awoke him, saying, Master, Master, we perish. Then he arose, and rebuked the wind, and the raging of the water. They ceased, and there was a calm. And he said unto them, Where is your faith? And they, being afraid, wondered, saying one to another, What manner of man is this? For he commandeth even the winds and water, and they obey him. And they arrived at the country of the Gadareans, which is over against Galilee. The Gadareans, Gadites. Okay, so, which is of the northern kingdom. But they got into a boat. See? So that's the sparrow. Sparrow. See? Remember, a sparrow, that's a bird only found in the Americas. So this is where he came to, and this is where Pilate and all those guys were judging him, is over here. Which would mean this is where the crucifixion took place, in the Americas. Not in that other part of the world where they're saying. All right? Man. Heavy stuff. Yes, indeed. So, remember, this word right here, stern. Okay? So, you go here, and we see the word star. Now, right down here, here's the word stern. Okay? So, we're going to go into the book of Matthew, chapter 2, verses 1, 2. Now, when Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea, in the days of Herod the king, behold, there came wise men from the east to Jerusalem, saying, where is he that is born King of the Jews? For we have seen his star in the east and are come to worship him. When Herod, well, okay, I'll keep going to this. When Herod the king had heard these things, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him. Now, I just read the extra verse. I was really supposed to stop at number 2, but it said they came from the east. So they came from the east and they came over here to the west. See? So that would be this part of the world. So he was born over here. He was born in the Americas. Wow. Now, we're going to go here. And here's the word Lord right here. Master, sir. And I mentioned that word previously in this lesson. Master. Because in martial arts, that's what you call your teacher, a master. Is it not? So, in the book of John, chapter 13, verse 13, ye call me master and Lord, and ye say, well, for so I am. So he admitted it. There we go, right there. He admitted it. He is the master teacher. In this particular frame, of course, we have the word make intercession. Okay? So, we have another verse in the book of Romans, chapter 8, verse 27. And he that searcheth the heart knoweth what is the mind of the Spirit, because he maketh intercession for the saints according to the will of God. And I brought that out once again. Why? Well, right here. Legendary Grand Masters. Now, of course, everybody knows this guy, Bruce Lee. You know, incredible martial artist. Incredible. But it's nowhere comparison to Jesus. In fact, you just learned that it wasn't even Bruce Lee's people or this man's people that this form of martial arts or martial arts in general originated with. It originated with children of Israel, which were black Americans. See? So even though you see all these men on this page, none of them are black American, but they all love this form of fighting. So in the book of Matthew, chapter 9, verse 4, let's go there. And Jesus, knowing their thoughts, said, wherefore think ye evil in your hearts? Right, heart meaning your mind. Okay? And this is why Jesus was so effective at defeating people in martial arts, because he could read their mind. He knew what they were going to do before they did it. That's something Bruce Lee couldn't do. I mean, imagine Bruce Lee fighting our brother Jesus. It'd be no contest because Jesus would already know what he's going to do before he's going to do it. So the fight would be over, even before it began. So here we have the word Jew. Jew means Judah. Now Judah means praise, son of Jacob by Leah. This particular frame indicates that all 12 tribes are known as Jews or Judah. They maintain a distinct tribal blessing, inheritance, but they are all of one race. The word is black. So, in the book of Jeremiah, chapter 14, verse 2, Judah mourneth in the gates of language. They are black unto the ground, and the cry of Jerusalem is gone up. So, there we have it. Jesus He wasn't just the soft-spoken guy, that they're teaching in the church, always love, love, love all the time. I mean, when you love your brother, like he did his disciples, sometimes you're going to fight for them physically. And he did do that, you know, and he did it in the form of martial arts. He was an expert in the craft. He knew all forms of fighting. So anyway, it's been the first estate with another lesson, and I will see you in the next one.